Hello, twins. This is a predictive reading for the month of January. I've shuffled your deck and pulled your cards, and we're going to be looking into the masculine's energy, the feminine's energy, and what that's creating for the month. Now, as I'm looking at what the masculine will be showing the feminine this month, you have the Page of Swords in the reverse, Devil at the bottom of the deck. But I thought what was really interesting is the overall theme for your relationship this month is the Devil in the upright. So this is kind of a frustrating energy because I feel like there isn't a whole lot of communication going on. Or if you are having communication from your masculine, it seems like it could have double meanings, or they're not being very clear about what the real message is, right? Not conveying what really needs to be said. So maybe sending like dry text messages or things like, how are you? Instead of, I'm sorry and I miss you, right? So kind of frustrating. There's an energy here of the masculine really thinking about how they don't trust anyone, but what I don't like about this is like they're lumping everybody together, right? So if they've had bad experiences with like a karmic partner or an ex, instead of understanding that has shaped the way they've treated the feminine and getting to the bottom of why they behave the way they do, being able to identify like, okay, this trauma came from this specific person. The masculine is like putting it all together, right? Masculine, whether it's a male or female, doesn't matter. But it's the energy of like, I don't trust anybody. Everybody lets you down. And for the feminine, I feel like that's very frustrating because I'm seeing a lot of like emotional availability where in the past, maybe not so much now, but there's an energy of like you really trying to show up, trying to show your masculine that everybody is not the same. Perhaps you were doing a lot of shadow work yourself so that you could be the example of like, I understand how my unhealed trauma affected the relationship. I want to do better. I need to work on me, right? Masculine, unfortunately, I feel like is shutting out their feelings because we have all sorts except for this one Nine of Cups. But they're also not being very logical, not being very realistic, not using their discernment to figure out like, what did I experience from which partner? It's almost as if because the situation isn't moving forward the way that they want it to, or perhaps the feminine has set some kind of boundary or created distance, now they're just completely shutting down, right? And they're just saying like, everybody disappoints me. Everybody doesn't show up for me. So kind of a frustrating energy because you divine feminine viewers, I feel like you would have like a knee-jerk reaction of, I showed up for you. Like, don't put me in that category with everybody else, right? You were too blind to see everything that I did for you. You get what I mean? So for what the masculine is showing, not a lot of progress, not a lot of growth. And I'm sorry to tell you because I don't want you to like watch this video and be like, Chanel, you're being so negative. But in all honesty, this is what I'm seeing. There's a tendency this month for the masculine to sabotage any kind of like productive conversations that could happen. There's behavior of like doing the opposite of what they say they're going to do. It's almost like the masculine wants you as a feminine to stop trusting them, stop expecting anything from them. And they know that they're making a mistake. That's what's so weird, right? But the thing is like they almost have lied to themselves so much about the connection in the sense that it's like they would be better off without me, right? What's the point of even trying? I've screwed up so many times. It's better to just put my walls up, sabotage something that I really want, because that's me doing the feminine energy a favor. Even if I have to hurt them, it's pushing them away enough that they won't keep dealing with me, right? And it's not because you're a burden for you feminine viewers. It has a lot more to do with the masculine energy feeling like they're a very toxic person and they don't know how to see their way out of their hangups or their trauma or their like behavior, right? So because they don't know how to face that within themselves and to figure that out, in their mind, the next best thing is to remove themselves from the situation, even if that means that they make you upset or they make you feel triggered, because it's like a band-aid, like just rip it off. I'm making the best choice for my feminine. Now they're free to go do something else because I'm never going to change. I'm always going to be the same person. I'm always going to be a screw up. They're not willing to face their demons this month, I feel like, as I'm looking at what they're showing you, because to them it's bigger than them, right? They recognize, I feel like, that you are moving away from the situation, and it's like rather than put up a fight this month, it almost feels like you're being met with an invitation to leave. And so you could be in communication with your masculine, but it's going to be kind of confusing, like whatever messages you're getting, because you're going to wonder, do you care? Do you even care if I answer you back? Do you care if you ever see me again? Right? And in their mind, in their disillusioned thinking, that really is them trying to like take the high road by not involving you in their toxicity. Okay. When I'm looking at this, you got the divine masculine saying, I want you in my life, but it's in the reverse, and the Six of Swords coming out for the real reason as to why it seems like they're shutting you out, or they're not communicating, or they're not being transparent about where they want things to go. And I feel like it's because in their mind, they've gotten into a space where they really just don't see a future as far as this relationship, the way that things are. So for some of you, your person just really decided, like, until I leave my karmic partner, there's nothing to talk about with my twin. Until I figure out what's wrong with me, there's nothing to talk about with my twin. Now, I can't say for all of you whether or not this person is trying to figure that out, because there's a huge energy of avoidance. There's also kind of this understanding of like, I've messed up so many times. There's not really anything I can say that would make my feminine feel like I've actually changed, because I feel like the masculines that I'm picking up on have probably told you many times, for you feminine viewers, I'm going to do something different. I'm really sorry. I'll show up. I'll try. And then it's always that kind of same repetitive cycle of like hot and cold, or ghosting, or not leaving a karmic partner, right? So for them, I feel like they are looking at the situation as an ending for now. Four of Wands reversed. They're focused on their future, which, I mean, in some ways that's good, because at least that way they can try to start being a better person for the future. But with this Page of Swords in the reverse, I feel like anything they try to create, they will sabotage. And it's not just with you. Like, this is somebody who goes out of their way to end situations. But what's frustrating is you've watched them hold on to so many toxic situations, right? This person will end anything that feels like it's good for them, or it feels out of alignment with how they view themselves, which at this time, the masculine is viewing themselves as being a bad person, right? A toxic person. So anytime you try to offer them something that counteracts that feeling of like, I'm toxic, I'm not worthy, they will reject that, and they will resent you, because they don't feel like it's a real offer. It's like, you're just showing me something that I can't have. Why are you showing me something that I can't attain? You know, I'm just gonna mess this up, right? It sucks, because I feel like you've tried to elevate this person's viewpoint about themselves, as far as how they perceive themselves, what they think of themselves as a person, but they hold such a negative perspective about themselves that it's like every time you try to build this person up, they very abruptly push you away, or show you the exact opposite of the good qualities that you were telling them that they had, right? Let's get a card to see how the masculine is feeling for the feminine this month. Yeah. moving on. You know, they see that you are moving towards your future. For them, they are stuck. And it seems like they're very content with where they are, in the sense that it doesn't require like any effort. They feel like eventually you're going to find your happiness, whether they're a part of your life or not. I do feel like for those of you that your twin has been dealing with a karmic partner, there's a shift there as well. So let's figure that out, because that's playing a role in what you're experiencing in the month of January. All right, so for some reason, they're trying harder to reestablish something, I feel like, with the karmic. For some of you, your twin is just like, that's the best I can do. I can't fix anything with my feminine, so I need to just go where it's easy or go where there's less that's expected of me, right? I think in a lot of ways, the behavior that your twin has shown you is a lot of what the karmic has done to them. And unfortunately, instead of them seeing that and having the ability to like separate the relationship they had with the karmic versus with the feminine, like I had said in the beginning, it's kind of all lumped together. So there's still this energy of like substitution of like, well, if I can't have my twin, then I'll just go over here to my karmic. Because the same way everybody disappoints me, love is love. It doesn't really make a difference. I just don't want to be alone, but I also don't want to have to do a lot of deep thinking about what my disappointments are around this other situation with my twin, right? I don't think that's going to work out though, because something with the karmic has changed. So it looks like the karmic partner is not open to the idea of like a reconciliation. They could be with someone else. They actually could be blocking your twin this month. Because it looks like they're ready for something new. I feel like in some way the karmic has elevated their life, whether it's through like learning something new, doing something different, which it's interesting because karmics are usually like really, really toxic people, right? So if you've done the work and you're elevating yourself, the karmic is doing their work and they're elevating themselves. Like your masculine must feel really stupid for the simple fact that it's like, even if the karmic person can get it together, maybe they are the common denominator in every like failed situation. And I feel like that's kind of what the universe is trying to show them, because there's an energy of like blame where they're projecting everything on everyone else. Like, oh, this past person cheated. You wanted too much from me. This was, so difficult. I just, everything I do is wrong. Whereas like now you've created this distance, you're glowing up, you're getting it together. They can't be where you are because energetically you're just not in the same frequency, right? In their mind, they're telling themselves like, well, I let my feminine go because they deserve better, and that's the best I can do is to give them something else rather than be better. It's easier, right? To just let them do whatever. They are feeling alone, so they want to go back to this karmic energy, and the karmic energy doesn't want them because they're even leveling up and doing better. So now this masculine energy is sitting there having to be like, I have nobody. Like everybody left. Everybody's doing better. I thought I was playing this game where I was like destroying each of these people individually so that they'd always be around for me and, come to my pity party or support me because I was so pathetic or miserable or sad or whatever the deal is. And it's like everybody has changed. Everybody has grown. Nobody has time for the masculine's control drama of like, I'm so sad, I'm a loser, you can't find better, whatever it is that they like do. It's been such a long dragged out pattern that all the players that are involved are sick of it, right? And so I think that's something that the masculine is not expecting. They always expected to lose you because you were too good to be true. You were out of their league. What they didn't expect was for even the karmic partner to no longer have a desire to keep bringing up the past, right? It looks like this person probably either moved away or is in a relationship with someone else. Maybe they've gotten a better job and they've just leveled up their life, and they don't want to wait around for this divine masculine to pay them attention, right? So they're doing something different as well. And I actually really like that, because now it's not just, okay, you have to go live with what you've created with this karmic partner. That doesn't even seem like that's going to be there this month. Something is happening that's really going to shake up your masculine energy, because I feel like in regards to the karmic, that was like the one for sure thing of like, this person's never going to go anywhere because they're too screwed up. So I always have this to fall back on. And then when even that person levels up and doesn't want them, or picks someone else, or is just like, you know what, I've had enough, that's really going to be a catalyst, I feel like, to this masculine having to realize that the toxicity is coming from them. You know, it's not just one specific person. It's them. It's like maybe they were hurt and then they bring it into every relationship, or maybe they had a chaotic upbringing and it's unhealed. So every relationship they have, they create the same dynamic. This person, they're trying to avoid the shadow work that needs to happen. And I feel like the universe has given them so many opportunities, right? It showed them who the karmic was. It brought the feminine into the masculine's life to elevate them in some area, whether it was through spirituality or love. It removed the feminine energy so that the masculine could see what life was like without the feminine. And I feel like the one thing that was left was for the karmic to be like, I'm not doing this. And for some reason, it seems like that almost hits home a little bit more for the masculine, which I don't want you to be sad, because you're going to be thinking like, okay, after everything that I did, why do they care that the karmic left, but they didn't bat an eye when I left, right? The thing is that they thought that the karmic would never leave, you know, in some way. I don't know if it's financial, emotional, addictions, whatever, but like, they felt like they were above this karmic partner, right? That this karmic partner was somehow dependent on them, and that validated your twin. So now that that's leaving, or that attention and validation is being diverted to whoever the karmic partner is with, that's earth-shattering for your twin. And I know that it's frustrating, because you would think it would be earth-shattering that you left. But I don't think they ever felt like they had you to lose you, to be honest with you, because they were still always attached to whoever this other person was. So when you left, it was like, man, that sucks, but it wasn't mine, right? I never had it. Whereas with this karmic energy, it feels like there was just this long, dragged out, like, telenovela of drama, right? That they could always go back to, or that they always knew, like, I always got that ace in the hole. If I go ring their doorbell, they're going to open up and we can argue some more, right? Eight of Swords in reverse for how you're going to be perceiving these actions, and it's being clarified by the feminine energy asking, why do you shut me out? Well, I'll tell you, they're shutting you out right now because they don't want to tell you the truth about how miserable they're feeling, especially because it's not as much about you. They're really miserable about the state of their life. But the catalyst is this karmic person changing the dynamic of the relationship, right? So it's kind of weird, kind of frustrating that that's what it takes. But maybe, you know, that's normal, like, human behavior. Because if you see somebody who, like, say you went to school and there was that one person that was like most voted to never amount to anything, right? And then you get to the 10-year class reunion and they're a freaking billionaire, and you just got a promotion at White Castle and now you're a manager, you would feel some type of way, right? Because it's like, man, this person had no potential. Like, they were the least likely to ever become anything, and they outshined me. Like, how is that even possible? I feel like that would get under your skin more than somebody who is already winning more, right? Because you expect that, whereas this is something a tad unexpected. So for you, I think that you're pretty intuitive. you're going to pick up on the fact that your masculine is going through quite a bit this month, but they're not going to be forthcoming with it whatsoever, right? You will probably start thinking that they're shutting you out because they're moving on with someone else. And it is possible that if you like watch their feeds or whatever their status is, initially it might seem like that's the case. But what has happened is if they're not going back to this karmic partner, they're trying to find somebody that they feel like isn't going to go anywhere. And so when they find that person, they may post about them, right? Or if they're back around the karmic partner, they may post about them to try to show everybody that they're good or they're wanted. But that's going to fall apart very quickly. So it's almost like they will have put their foot in their mouth, right? Because that's when the person that they're posting with will sit down and be like, hey, but actually, like, you're just really not my type. Or, hey, but actually, I'm just really tired of this itchy and scratchy ass relationship that we've been having for the last 20 years. You get what I'm saying? So initially it will look like there's something that they're giving their time to, and they are, but it's not going to pan out the way that they think that it is. And so you may see kind of this swing where it's like they're not paying you any attention, for those of you who don't watch your person's feed, because there's a lot of people who don't, right? Some of you just don't give a damn what this person is doing. They're watching you, just so you know. But for some of you who don't care, you wouldn't know what this person is doing. You might watch the occasional tarot reading or pull yourself some cards if you have them at home, but you're not like obsessing over this, right? So for those of you who aren't in the know because you've decided not to pay attention to the circus, you would miss those posts of like, oh, my new girlfriend, or me and my karmic, or me and my boyfriend, right? And initially it'll just be like silence. It'll feel like silence. It feels like whenever this falls apart, that's when you'll get some kind of like sad message. So it could be towards like the third week of January. Could very well be like, I'd say middle to third week of January. It seems like there's some kind of like boohoo, you know, I'm so sad, I'm so down, something bad happened to me, pay attention to me type of thing, right? I feel like that for you is obviously not going to be enough, because it's like, where the hell have you been through the holidays or all this, like, whatever. They may even say something along the lines of like, I'm sorry that I missed the holidays. I'm sorry that I missed your birthday or New Year's, whatever. Would you like to spend some time together over drinks? Would you like to meet up? For a small group of you, this person may have like a gift for you, some kind of like small token, a Christmas gift, whatever, right? Not anything big. Also something to try to show you that they're like in a better place. So I don't know if, oh my god, this is almost like somebody buying you a book about like finance or self-help or something and being like, oh, I just read this and it was amazing and I wanted to give it to you for Christmas, when in reality, like, they didn't read or apply any of the information. They just like simply YouTubed or Googled like top 10 books to read to change your life, right? So be a little bit mindful of that, because it's kind of like a gift, but it's got an extra like tinge to it for you to think like, whoa, maybe this person has like really been working on themselves, or did they really read this and give this to me? That's so cool. They're waking up, right? They're waking up to the Google search. I don't know. I mean, in some ways, at least they're like trying to get your attention or make you think that they're doing something different. But why spend all the time like making something up when you could just do it, right? Like, I feel like a lie or a deception takes more work than actually just like do whatever it is that you're trying to avoid. It's kind of dumb. So don't be surprised if when you get this book or this whatever, you know, it could even just be that they just send you like a link to a video like, oh, this was so inspirational, right? I feel like if you start questioning them about it, like, oh, well, what was your favorite part of the book? I really like chapter 12. you may be disappointed, right? Because they could just be like, not reply or give you some like really basic answer that makes you feel like, okay, this person's full of crap. I do feel like there's still a conversation that needs to be had between the two of you, for sure. For those of you who watch this person and you see them give attention to someone old or new, I think you're going to want answers. Like, do you think I'm just going to sit around and wait for you forever? How do you think you could come back around after you've done this? For those of you who don't watch this person and don't know what's going on outside of like readings, I feel like you're still going to be super guarded because whoever this insecure, addicted, toxic, jealous, manipulative, feminine energy is, you're going to want to know what are they doing with that person, right? I think that even though this seems like kind of a little whatever kind of peace offering, you would be very quick to call them out on their crap, right? You're not going to just be like, oh, thanks for the whatever, the well wishes, or, you know, thanks for remembering that it's Christmas. Like, you would be like, okay, what brought this on? You haven't been around for weeks or months, or why do you suddenly need to reach out now? You're very blunt. Like, you would be very, very to the point. You are not in a space where you want to keep doing the same stuff over and over. Especially, I feel like, because it's the end of the year, it's time for new. So whatever this person is offering, you very well may decline, or it's not going to hold the weight that they're hoping that it will. And I think that's because you're so over it at this point that it's like, wow, you remembered my birthday after 10 years, right? It doesn't mean to you what they're kind of hoping it would mean. And I think that you're in a space of being so over it, but also annoyed that it's taking so long, that whatever this token is of like, hey, so how is life with you, a stranger? That's going to make you more upset than be like, oh my God, they remembered me, right? That feeling has kind of dissipated. When I'm looking into how this is going to affect you, Nine of Cups, this isn't fair in the reverse. So I feel like when this person has this conversation with you in January, you will hear things about like that aren't working out for them. They're going to probably cry about the relationship, the karmic, the job, whatever it is. This is someone, they have excuses, right? They have excuses. I'm sorry, I haven't talked to you. I've just been feeling so depressed. You know, it's the holidays. You know that I miss my neighbor who moved away in 2009. You know that I miss Martin Luther King Jr. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, some of it's valid, some of it's crap, right? I think that you know this person well enough that you can kind of pick through what is real and what is like fluffed up to try to suck you in. But I also feel like in this conversation, when they see that you're not budging, you know, that you're not willing to get sucked in from one message, one token of whatever, that's when they're going to have to start explaining, right? So they'll be telling you all the stuff that's wrong. And you might feel like this person is getting their just desserts. They're getting their karma. You know, for a small group of you, this person did something and went to jail for a little while, and that's why they haven't been talking. And it's very possible that whoever this karmic partner is, that always used to hold them down and do whatever, was like, yeah, you know what? I'm seeing somebody, I can't put money on your books, right? Could even be something like that. This person has experienced kind of a surprising situation from their ace in the hole, right? That person is done, and I think they'll tell you about that. They might put a spin on it, though, because I don't think they'll tell you exactly why it happened or how it happened, right? Because they were in the wrong, right? Whether it was like I went to jail again and they wouldn't bail me out, or I went back and, you know, got drunk again. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not really going to tell you those kinds of details, but you're smart, right? You will be able to figure out and read between the lines. And you're going to actually kind of laugh about it, because for you, it's like, how dumb can you be? How many times can you make the same mistakes over and over? Right? Like, you should have seen this coming. There's something about whatever is going to happen to your person in January that you will look at them and be like, I can't believe you're surprised this happened. As you're telling me about this, like, I don't feel bad for you. This is like this person's nature. So kind of nice also, because the karmic, I feel like, is making their exit. They're showing their cards, they're showing their nature. And your twin is being forced to have to see that. There's something here where it's like, not only is karma being brought into the masculine's life for the way that they've treated you, and I don't feel like it's anywhere near to the degree that they've behaved towards you, but it's the start, right? It's kind of that thing that will make you smirk. Even though I'm not saying it like you're a bitter person or you want revenge, but it's just like, come on, you know what I mean? After as long as I've told you this is going to happen, or for the way you treated people, like, I don't feel bad for you. You know what I mean? There's almost a sense of irony about how this happens. So it's very possible that on a smaller scale, whatever your twin did to you, the karmic ends up doing to them. And so they kind of get this like dose of their own medicine. But the weird part is they're actually surprised by this. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe so-and-so would, borrow my car and not bring it back, or some crap. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you borrowed my heart and you never did anything with it, right? So you're going to be looking at this like you're getting some sort of redemption. I feel like it's coming from the universe, not so much from you or anything that you're doing, right? It's just kind of events that have been orchestrated. But yeah, there's a small ending here for your masculine that's going to feel super painful, and that will lead them to make a decision about what's important to them. Even if they feel like they're failing, they're going to fail at it, So as far as like action, I don't know if this person is going to take super huge action in the month of January. It feels like they're still kind of experiencing like the blowback of all this, of like letting you leave, trying to go back to what's familiar, having that not work out. It feels like emotionally this person will return to you, in the sense that when they wrote this off and they were like, feminine's better off with someone else, I'm better off alone and with my karmic and whatever, they will return back to the feeling of like, no, I want my feminine to not be with someone else. I want them to be with me. As far as action, that's kind of iffy for January, because you've got strength in the upright, strength in the reverse. So it's like, they might make an effort to be in your space towards the end of January. Does that mean they're going to stick around? Not necessarily. Okay. So I don't want you to suddenly think there's going to be some like massive relationship, because there's still a bunch of work that needs to be done, right? They need to figure out the ending that they've experienced. They need to get their priorities straight, get their mind right. Like, there's so many things this person has to do, because now that this really is coming to a close with this other person, they have to move on from that, right? Like, what does that even look like? And what I think is really interesting is like, you released your twin, then your twin released you, and then the karmic released them, right? So it kind of all goes back to you, for you feminine energy, because it's like, once you stop creating resistance and you just kind of accepted, like, you know what, this just isn't going to happen, I need to do something else, that's when everything shifted, right? So I'm happy about that, because I've been seeing the universe saying that for so long in my twin flame readings, like, you just have to release, you just have to move on. And I felt like I was repeating myself for so long. And it's also like, what's the point of moving on from someone you love or whatever? But all of this is shifting in a way that it's like, all you had to do was let go, right? And do nothing, which for months, years, I think I've had my channel for a few years now, people have been holding on and fighting and trying. You get what I mean? And so it's kind of crazy, because it's like, the harder you fight, the longer it's going to take, so maybe don't fall back into that energy of trying to hold on when you should be continuing to let go. Now, when I'm looking into what's being created, the state of your relationship for January after everything is said and done, you got the 9 of Swords in the reverse. For the feminine, it says, why is this so hard reversed? Masculine, you got I don't deserve you reversed. So here's the thing. Whatever this karmic did, I feel like it was a culmination of the way that they've been treated or the way that they've treated the masculine for so long. This is not like gonna hurt your person physically or whatever, but this is more like a huge shock for them in the sense that they'll be like, wow, I deserve better than that, right? And because they're now seeing they deserve better than the karmic, that can help them to elevate their idea of what they deserve and be able to set their eye on you as a prize, because now they're starting to feel more worthy. It's kind of weird. Like, you told this person how great they were, they didn't believe you, but when someone treated them so bad, that's what helped to elevate them to be like, I'm great, I deserve better. But if you think about it, and a lot of the readings that I was doing like 2 years ago, that was what the feminine was learning by the treatment that they were receiving from the masculine energy of like, you know what, I deserve better than this. And maybe I haven't always been there for myself or haven't loved myself the way I should have, but I'm not putting up with this anymore, right? Now that you've internalized that lesson, boom, here it is for the masculine. So I feel like there's still kind of this holding pattern, right? There's a huge ending, but it's not between the two of you. It's an ending of something in the masculine's life. And because of that, that will allow you to start healing. Because I think that for so long, you just wanted to see whatever this was that they were doing or dealing with end, and then them to come around full circle. They're not at the full circle part just yet, where they're ready to like give you the commitment or whatever. But they are starting to get to a place where it's like, okay, I need to be rid of this. I need this out. I know I want you around. I don't know to what capacity, right? And so for you, it's kind of like, okay, there's some movement. Unfortunately, though, with them moving closer to you, that closes the gap that you've been creating between the two of you. And so now you may feel as though you're spinning your wheels or you're stuck or you're right back in situations that you worked really hard to get out of, in regards to this masculine energy, right? So I guess, I mean, it looks like things will be a little better in the sense that this third energy is going to get removed. I think it might be frustrating for you because the masculine seems like they're still going to be grieving the loss of the third energy. It seems like they're still going to have to be negotiating in what way they're attached to this third person, whether they have kids together and it's like, what's the custody arrangement or whatever their situation is, right? There's still this devil energy. You know what I mean? So if it's not the third person physically being in their life, as far as like they share children or whatever, it very well could be that they're still feeling a lot of like the heartache or the like realization of like, I can't have this person in my life at all, especially if I want my feminine in my life. Which, I mean, your masculine was toxic for a while and you grieve them. So try not to be irritated when you're hearing your masculine grieve a karmic partner that was super toxic. It's hard because the ego kicks in and you want to be like, with all the stuff you've done to me, you think I want to hear about this, or you know what I mean? And that is your right to set that boundary of like, no, you don't get to talk to me about this situation. I'm not open to that. That's okay. That's called self-care, right? But the hard part is like, you're going to be re-experiencing some of these triggering feelings that perhaps you haven't had when you weren't dealing with your masculine. When you're not dealing with your masculine, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what the karmic's doing. You don't care. You don't have to hear about it. Whereas when they're in your direct space, some of those trigger points are going to be coming back up. And that's where you get to deal with your double energy of like, how do I want to deal with this situation, right? I've got me, I've got my masculine. They're bringing this energy into my life. This is the third part of the devil card. What am I doing with this? Am I going to entertain this? Am I going to allow this? Do they need to know that they have to leave that at the door before they come here because I don't want to hear about it, right? So both of you are kind of examining ways now that you will feel stuck in your lives with each other based on situations that are still issues, right? Whether it's because you never really talked about what happened, or because you haven't been able to address the feelings you had around this situation. And to be quite frank, I don't think now is the time to do that, because this person, this masculine, is still like grieving the loss of this, right? So it's just going to cause resentment if you start bringing up all this stuff that they're not in a position to deal with. But in all honesty, you have free will and you can do whatever you want, right? Sometimes it is good to be like, hey, I don't care what this is. This isn't my problem. This is where we're at. You just have to deal with it how you want to, right? Because you have the choice to create, the next part of your relationship based on what you do now. Now, I'm going to take this over to the extended reading because I'm super curious what happens after January, right? This looks like there's a conversation that will lead to something else. I want to know what exactly that is, because I am seeing that the devil energy kind of gets kicked out, even though you're ending on a toxic note. But behind that is temperance in the reverse, which it's like, okay, so something needs to end or change before we can even start talking about a reconciliation. So I'm really curious to know if that's something that is in the future, that could possibly be an opportunity for you in 2023. I'm going to pull some cards to figure out what your masculine will be showing you soon after all this happens, what that's going to create for you, and some other things that I feel like you would really benefit in knowing. All right, this is your Twin Flame January reading. Thank you for letting me read for all of you, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye. All right, so looking at your masculine's energy, we talked about what you can expect in January. Once you go over that hurdle, here's the thing. And they're coming in with the Two of Swords in reverse. What's being clarified by the masculine saying, everything I do is wrong. Your overall themes will be the High Priestess in the upright with the High Priest in the reverse. Kind of crazy you got that pair, right? I feel like with some of the cards I'm seeing here, your masculine will be wanting to start being more in your life, right? Now, I would caution you because of a few things. Are you being placed into the position of being the rebound, right? For the karmic partner, or for whatever that situation was that we saw that did not work out. You get what I mean? You've taken a lot of time to heal your heart apart from your twin. Whereas your twin, it's like they are experiencing this lesson. But if they're allowed to very quickly move into your space without having to feel the ramifications of the lesson, sit in the feeling that the lessons bring like you had to, right? Will they be able to internalize that? Will they be able to see the value of what they've experienced if very quickly there's something there to kind of supplement that lack of energy that they were feeling, or there's something there to fill the void that the karmic partner was leaving behind, right?